readers. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I'd like to do something a little bit different. I call it Questions from a Hat. And I got a question from one of my writers, and I thought I'd share it with you as well and answer it so that everybody can hear and benefit. So she asks, "Hi, Maria, how are you? Looking for a little friendly advice. When I'm writing, I don't really have a plot or definite storyline in my head. I like to connect with me and then write what comes in the moment. My plan is to complete my book like this, then go back to bridge the gaps so it flows. However, I've seen lots of people saying you should have the story plot before you start. Do you find there is a way that works best for you?" Well, thanks for the question. And yeah, it's something that I've worked through myself. So when I was writing my book, I was writing I let things pour out. I had an idea of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to say and what the story was like, but I didn't have the details. So I just wrote down what I thought would be interesting. And then later, I went back and tweaked and reworked and picked up chunks and moved them here and there, and edited and um, cleaned up some sentences and moved things around and all that. But then once I was mostly finished my second draft, I came across this really cool book. It's called Save the Cat Writes a Novel. And it's all about plot structure and finding beats and keeping with a set of um, plot points that work. And it may sound like it's formulaic, but there are so many hundreds of thousands of different ways that you can approach this that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a paint by numbers. You can really get creative with these plot points, and they make sense in terms of story structure. Like you really need to have the ideas really need to have a structure so that they can play. Without the structure, it's all just mud. So I recommend um, considering getting a book like this book and to really see if your story has a structure that readers can follow. The thing is about writing books is as soon as you confuse the reader, they're out. They don't want to read anymore. They lose patience. The only exception to that is if you intentionally want to confuse the reader, like with unreliable narrator, or if you're doing a crime novel or something. But for the most part, the reader needs to suspend what they're doing in their everyday life and immerse themselves in your world. So the easier it is for them to do that, the better. So there are key things that happen in a plot. There's you can divide it into 3 acts or maybe 5 acts, and the chapters also give some structure. And then you want to give your characters something to do so they advance the plot forward. And those action steps and those events that they go through move things along. And so you need to have some events or some conversations or anything that will give your character something to do, something to work through, something that they're up against. And that's what the plot does. Otherwise, it's just rambling. And that's okay sometimes. But for the most part, you want things tight. Um, Publishers nowadays are really looking for like really good writing and really good storytelling because they don't have time. If they don't get through the first page or so, they they know that nobody else is either. So you really have to pay attention to to the general plot, the general outline, the general structure of your story. So my recommendation is for your first draft, just let it pour out, just get the ideas out. And in the second draft, start moving things around so that they make more sense, so they're more fluid. Anyway, I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, or if you'd like to explore writing your own book, I have some spots open in my calendar. I'd love to meet you and talk with you. And let's see what your options are. All right. Well, bye for now. Have a good weekend.